Welcome to Let's Go. You will notice that we did not have an episode last week. What were we doing? Why did we call it off?
Because my mom.
Oh, yeah. Okay. And then we talked about doing it again this week. But so I got my new job this week.
Yeah.
And
kept you super busy to the point that we got to have a conversation. I am not.
You haven't spoken to me in 7 days.
Well, no, not just not spoken. I'm like, I'm either in the doghouse or he's like, I'm like, I felt like an ex-girlfriend trying to get a little bit of attention. Like, we just broke
you actually were sending me the same text messages over and over again. Hey, Riley.
So yeah, I was like,
well, no. So here's the full story. So this week was supposed to be my first day in my new role, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And we had our meeting on Monday, and everything went really well. I get a text message from Sam Nelson at 10 p.m. Which, if Sam texts anyone at 10 p.m.
that's
and
pretty
like,
late
Sam's not asleep by 10 p.m. There's something wrong. So I look, and it's a positive COVID test. And
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, so as soon as I got a new role, I got my job back.
Yeah.
So I was doing listing agent stuff all week.
Yeah.
And doing what I'm working on, which some of the stuff we'll talk about, some of the stuff we can't talk about because it's
revealed soon. Maybe
y'all find out in 6 months or so.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But yeah, no, it's a proprietary plan. You and I will talk about it. You don't even know about it yet.
Apparently, no.
Yeah.
Because I've been on an island all week.
To be fair, Amy doesn't know either. Does that make you feel better?
Not really.
I mean, if I hadn't told Amy or you, it's not a you thing, right? And so, like, Amy has no idea. I'm going to bombard her with it on Monday. She's going to be like, what the hell?
Yes. No, we
put these on. Oops.
Yes. So it's funny how a lot of times we talk about communication and making sure that you're a good communicator, etc.
I'm an excellent communicator.
I don't think that word means what you think it means. Princess Bride quote. Okay. So yeah, you got, because I'm seriously like, I get now, like, people that are in relationships with you, are married to you, like, legit, like, I'm texting, like, first off,
it wasn't on my, like, and I don't mean to be rude when I say this, but it was not on my number one thing for the week.
Well,
and so
yes,
I had to prioritize.
No, I know, 100%, but that's all I needed. Like, it wasn't but I'm going.
Like if I would have just sent you a text, Sam's sick, see you next week.
Yeah. See, here I am, because it's that.
Probably thinks that I'm mad at you or there's something wrong with our relationship. Yeah. I feel kind of bad about this now.
You should.
Olivia, there's nothing wrong.
No, you should, and not really feel bad, but at least just be aware, because it was, like you said, even just a crazy week, but like, first off, and then just to be fair to understand, like, my thought process, I don't, like, I'm going to text somebody, I'm going to call them. Now, if I'm, like, in a sales position, obviously, you have, like, what?
Like blowing them up.
You're blowing up. But I feel like, hey, this is, and I understand people have stuff, like, so I'm never, like, going to just, and so, but the not texting back, you need to normally at least give me a thumbs up. This week, like nada. Nothing. And then what was it? Thursday, you finally text, he said, I should have hit send.
Oh, yeah. No, I typed an entire text message and never hit send. So whenever I actually opened up her text message again, because she bumped me with the same text message for a second time, I screenshot. I was like, should have hit send. My bad.
Yeah. But that's the whole thing. But so I wonder who else in your world. And so, and part of where this is coming from is, I mentioned, and we've talked about this before, but you are your receptionist right now. Yeah. Because, yes, we have some sign calls and things that go to the office, but for the most part...
No, my number's not... I don't think... Is my number still public? I don't think my number's public at all. But people just have my number. And I tell them to freely give it away. Yeah. Because I'm in sales and I want to buy your business, or I want to partner with you, or I want to flip a house with you. Yeah. So everybody give away my number is 318-732-6030. Buy, sell houses, buy, sell businesses. Want a sales position, want to grow, want to make more money. That's the number you should call. We'll get you the right people.
Well, and so this is the, and I do think that there absolutely should be people that can call you directly. Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, you're still the bottleneck. Mm-hmm. So if you have that person that, because let's say, let me ask you this, when R2 squared or
R squared.
R squared, what do you call in the building?
I don't know that. We may do a poll and see what the public would like for that building to be named.
Yeah.
I don't know. Everything I had was like elevation, elevate, grow, like.
Okay, so when you move over there, is there at any point would you put your desk in front of?
I'm not even going to have a desk.
Okay, so would you? So it goes back to, would you put your desk in the, like when somebody walks in? Would you ever put your desk right there?
No, mainly because I don't like anyone that much.
It makes me think of, oh my gosh. So apparently my head today is all movies or TV stuff. Mm-hmm. Ron Swanson, have you seen that? Mm-hmm. Have you seen it where they tried to make him talk to the public?
Probably.
They gave him a round desk thinking that people could get around him, but no. So when they try to talk to him, he just twirls all the way around. And so the people are having to follow him. So that made me think of that. With that said, you are, you're doing the same thing with your phone. Mm-hmm. So it's not me going, oh, you have to have this distance between everybody. No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So
it's that people probably are getting the responses they're supposed to get because I'm bombarded with.
That's right. So if somebody was answering those and then either going like, then they could say, okay, I'm transferring you to him, or I'll have him call you back at this time, or this is what he told me to tell you, because again, order of priority, or who is not being touched that could mess up a relationship later.
Well, no, there was actually a time. Now, this person ended up not buying anything, but there's a family that's very near and dear to my heart. Like, love these people to death. Like when I see them, I'll buy their ticket. I'll buy them a drink. I give them a hug. Like husband, wife, kids, everybody, you know. And she messaged me about something one day. And I just didn't see it.
Yeah.
It absolutely just got buried. Like so for those of you who don't know,
look at how many text messages you have that are unread. I've seen this, and I have a lot of unread emails because I just, between me and my assistant, she just looks at like what we actually like need to do. 400 unread text messages.
And to be clear, like if you're on that list, like there's people that I like actually like love on this list. Like I have not opened Brandon Muey's last text. He's one of my friends who I will likely be in business with at some point in my life. I have not read your last text. Sam Nelson. Let's see. Someone whose house I was supposed to go look at.
So potentially how much could you...
Investment partner, business partner, real estate agent. I don't know who that person is. So I'm not going to open it.
Yeah.
My granite guy. Real estate agent who sent me a response to inspection yesterday. Yes, I did receive and present. We'll get back to you ASAP.
So I wish...
Smiley face.
I wish I had an iPad to demonstrate this. I may attempt to put this in when this goes live. But I want you to think, Gene Rivers, amazing agent in Florida, business owner.
Better leader. Like, he's a good coach, good leader.
Oh, my gosh, yes.
I went to his, it's very different. No, you and I went to that, career visioning. No, me and he who shall not be named went to that one together. I think that was in Florida, career visioning. So KW's hiring process, which actually, you know what? I kind of think I want to go back to that.
Well,
yeah.
So with that, yes. And
it just very different. Like, I've attended that class like 5 times, right? And so career visioning is this long hiring process, right? So from personality assessment to interviews to everything.
We think, slow to hire, quick to fire. Not that we want to fire anybody, but if you're slow to hire and you do the process, you're less likely to have to fire somebody.
Yeah.
And they're less likely to want to leave because you've created a connection. It's not just about one or the other.
Mm-hmm. And so I went to, I've been to Ben Kenny's twice. Gene Rivers, the guy who got kicked out of KW for sexual harassment.
I don't know if all of that was true, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. I didn't say it. No, I don't know like that. I just, there's just a lot of
so what's funny to me
surrounded.
Is like
so I try not to judge because I don't know.
Yeah, but he did get kicked out though.
Did he?
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking that he still had, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Here nor
I thought he got dismissed.
I see it. I thought he still had stuff.
Anyway.
I don't know.
Look, he was nice to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't know.
Also not a cute girl. So,
well, that hurts my feelings because he was nice to me too.
Well, I think he was just really nice to the other people.
But this is the whole, I'm not a IQ girl thing.
I didn't say that.
No, you said it.
That's how you processed it. Completely different. So, who else did I see it with? I saw it one more time. Somebody else. I think it was a woman. Anyway.
Okay. But all that to say,
he just taught it very differently, and I really appreciated the difference.
Absolutely. And to me, he's more of the style that I am, or I would like to grow up to be, because he is, while he is very much like, you spend time with him and you are pumped up, I guess is the word, but like you have like that, it's not the fake, or it's not the, I don't know how to describe.
He's like a classic businessman.
Yes. And he's very like, my favorite question that he asked was, it was in some class, and real estate had taken a pretty hard turn in a lot of areas, and lots of places weren't selling. And he asked the question in a group of people. He said, so who's willing to move to a better location? And I believe that the people in the room thought he was asking a true question. Like they thought he was saying like, double down, work harder. And they're like, no. And he was like, why not? People move every day for jobs. Mm-hmm. You're going to sit there and complain, but you're not willing to move. And I was like, but he is, and he did move for his, but it was the whole point of like, think differently. Mm-hmm. Don't just sit there and go, what, right? Like, what do you need to do? And he wasn't saying necessarily move, but like, at least, what's on the table. But one of the things that he talks about, how do you know need another person, or how do you need to know, like, I'm paraphrasing this, but like a different role, mm-hmm. that person is, if customer service or, customer service or quality of life mm-hmm. is impacted. Mm-hmm. And customer service could be quality of life, but definitely customer service.
My quality of life?
Yes.
My quality of life is definitely impacted.
Yeah. So, and now you're both quality of service and you right?
Yeah, because I work like anybody is like, if we're talking about the phone calls I missed. Let's talk about the ones I picked up and the amount of text messages and calls I made. I had an agent accuse me of not lead generating and that my phone wasn't busy yesterday. And I was like, cool. I'll see you at the office and we'll compare. And I will bet my net worth if you'll bet yours. But I'm walking home with everything. And he was like, wait, what? And I said, I still lead generate more than you. Like I'm busier than you and I have more opportunities than you because I make more phone calls than you. Period. Mm-hmm. And anyway, so the amount of phone calls and text messages I do make, like I
promise, if we looked at your phone, there's probably I want to say a couple hundred a day, just phone calls, and then especially if you did phone calls and texts. Yeah, because like that 400 texts, those probably are not that old. It's not like you have 400 because they're 2 years old.
No, I clear them out every now and then. I'm just like, well, if I haven't read them by now, let me just clear.
So basically, what I'm hearing you say then, quality of life and customer service is being impacted. Mm-hmm. So now it means there's no choice.
Okay, we'll talk about it. Look, y'all got my social media passwords. Y'all got everything. Yeah. Give me one piece of privacy.
Well, you can. No, that's the difference. So I think now the challenge that you're going to have, and this is for everybody when you're thinking about this, when there's something that you know to do, but you're a little resistant, come at it from, what do I not know? Because the way that it's, and I'm not to speak to you, but like speak for you, but to speak to anybody watching, sometimes we get so stuck on it because we think it has to be a certain way.
Right.
And there's lots of different ways to do it to get the same end result. So we find the one that actually works best for you. Mm-hmm. And yet you get quality of life and customer service back.
Yeah.
That's all we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because, I think about this, and now this is talking to me. Mm-hmm. I think about, because I'm not doing it, I think about back in the day, I've always wanted to be in shape and be fit and all this. Well, it took me, I played softball in high school, and I ran cross country one year. And yet I'd always wanted to be a runner, but I had in my head, or wanted to always exercise. I had in my head the way that it was supposed to do it. Just to wake up in the morning, you work out in the morning, you do blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And I fought that. So I would do it, and I'd do it, nothing.
But miserable, yeah.
Miserable. And I couldn't, and I wouldn't, I don't like the word couldn't, but I didn't sustain it. And then whenever I said, wait a minute, do it however I want to do it. So I was leading Bold at the time, and we were really focused on the 6-person perspectives. And then I was reading the book Atomic Habits. And one of the hugest pieces for me in that book, he talks about,
Hugest pieces. It's going to be huge.
Huge. It was, what do runners do?
Eat up the dots.
Runners run.
Yeah.
So I went from thinking I had to do it a certain way to, I'm just going to do it. So then, so I went from, not, really probably having run more than a 5K and barely making it through it to doing ultra marathons, because I literally just was like, okay, runners run. So if I woke up and I ran at 10, people used to laugh at me because I'd be running at noon in Louisiana and it's 100 plus degrees. And I'm like, but that's what worked for me that day. I've ran at 5 a.m., noon. I've been like, hey, I haven't ran today. It's 10 p.m. And
has anyone ever told you have a very spastic schedule?
Hugely spastic
I
schedule.
never know what to expect out of you. Like sometimes you may be bright and early in the morning. Sometimes I may not hear from you till 10 a.m. Or like you'll message me at like 2 a.m. like, hey, I don't expect you to respond. Like, good, I'm asleep.
Yeah. You almost got one of those for me late last night. So this goes back to who are you and learn your rhythms. So it took me a long time, but so I do have ADHD, but one of is I work best in short, intensive bursts. So now with that said, I'm also known for putting things into place that that last for a long time, but I have to put systems around it and things like that. And yet, so if there's a project or something I'm working on, I might get something done in 24 hours. It would take somebody else 2 weeks to get done. Right. And yet I am,
Brenda.
but I also know where my energy is going to hit and low. And so, I would say I'm intentionally spastic. I can make myself do anything, but I also know where I have the most energy at. Or like, again, with the running thing.
He's jealous. I'm petting Brenda under the table.
Yes. It was it was like literally, so like, if I finish one thing, the kind of the joke is how, if you're ADHD and you want to get something done, don't take your shoes off. So let's say I'm finished with work and I want to, I know a lot of people wear gym clothes all the time. I am one of those people right now, even though I'm not going to the gym. But one of the things whenever I was running, I knew that if I was going to go run that day, if I'm already dressed like I'm going to go run, as soon as I was finished with work or I was finished with that call, finished with whatever, I would just step outside. Because that was the other thing. One of the reasons I don't ride my bike as much is my road is not safe for bikes, even like this far to get to a safer spot. So, but I'll run it. I don't mind that. Or walk it. But that's the ticket. I've got to set myself up for the next thing. If I'm going to do something, it has to be in conjunction with the thing before that. It's a whole thing. But I had to figure all that out for myself so that I could be effective. So for anybody
that's worried about that at camera.
yeah. So we're watching. I brought Riley, my standard poodle. He and Harrison's golden doodle love to play with one another, and they're playing right next to the camera right now. And so this could be
a camera that can cover 2 of my mortgage notes.
Yeah, this could be. We haven't even made it to episode 20 yet.
Can y'all pick a new place to wrestle? That'd be cool. Yeah, go do that somewhere else.
Anyway, so we know customer service and experience. So that is going to be something that I'm putting on your coaching piece that we've got to look to see what is the
solution.
What is the solution?
I have thought about connecting my phone number, like when I don't answer, forwarding it to the office line. But we're also about to start doing some different stuff with like the listing team and stuff like that, which we can talk about. That I want THLT instead of like the typical brokerage, and we've talked about this in previous episodes, like the typical brokerage is, you just have an agent and they're expected to do everything and there's not any actual support in the back end. And I want THLT to run like a business, like a real...
So who does it have to start with?
See, that's rude. That's rude. She wants me to say me. And while I know that's the answer, I want her to fall off a bridge. Not literally.
And we wonder why when he doesn't text me back. I get a little sensitive.
Right. No, but I want them, like, and I know so there's going to be people that laugh. Like, I know TikTok is going to eat me up over the statement, but, like, I want people to respect mine and my agent's times like a professional firm. And when I say firm, I mean medical practice, law firm, insurance firm. Why is it that everyone respects their time and their needs more than ours? Like, just like in the case of this NAR lawsuit, you've got a mortgage lender, a title company, an attorney, and then you have a real estate agent. And these are as a buyer, these are your 3 closing costs now. We just added in a new closing cost, right? And our pay is by far the most negotiable, but who goes to their attorney and goes, hey, I know $350 an hour is your rate, but, like, for me, I'm going to need $150 an hour. We're going to have to go to the next title attorney that's going to charge me $350 an hour anyway, right? Your mortgage lender's getting paid 1 to 2 points on your deal typically, and nobody's going to them to negotiate their rate. By the way, less competition. Yeah, like, very irritating. And people, you have to teach people how to treat you. Like, I'm extremely adamant about what my dollar per hour is worth. But here's the deal, though. I can almost guarantee you that no matter which name you name in real estate in this world, like, I'm going to know more. I'm going to have more access. I'm going to have more resources, and I can get the deal done. And so I feel like you should treat me like a professional.
So this is the interesting thing. People grow into the conversations you create.
Yeah.
And is it that they don't respect your time or that you don't?
So typically, I believe my time is respected for the most part. There's some people who don't. They're jerks sometimes. I think it's more so me wanting to create that for my partners inside the business, for them to understand time blocking. Like, it really annoys me when I get a phone call from an agent. I can't even go spend time with my family. What's your schedule look like? Well, people don't care about my schedule. But have you taught them how to treat you? Well, you don't understand. I do understand. So just to be clear, no one's ever sold more real estate than me in a year. Not in this area anyway. I do understand how to make that happen. Now, when I was doing that much volume, let's be real, I was an indentured servant to this business. And then that was through coaching that I learned, like, okay, like, now I'm going to have a schedule. And these are, as a listing agent, it's, I work on the business from 12 to 9. I'm sorry, 9 to 12. And then I go on appointments. I'm in the business, at 1, 3, and 5. There's 3 opportunities to get me in the business every single day. And that's what I did as a listing agent. It's a little bit different as a buyer's agent. But, when people call and they go, hey, I want to go see a house tomorrow at 12. And you look and you're like, well, I'm supposed to have lunch with my kid tomorrow at 12. And then they just go, okay, I'll be there. And they call their kid and go, hey, sorry to disappoint you, right? No, like, look, there might be times where you've got to move some stuff, right? But, like, hey, Olivia, can we meet tomorrow at 12?
Well, Harrison, I'm actually booked at 12, but I'm free at 1:30. Does that work?
You know what? 1:30 actually does work.
Perfect.
Boom, like, make the ask. Now, they'll tell you, especially if it's somebody that you've garnered any relationship or trust with, like, no, Olivia, I really want to see this house. I know there's like 15 appointments already, and this is my lunch break. I need to go see this house. And now we have a decision to make, right. But you didn't even try to respect your time blocking. And that's all I ask is, like, hey, just make one ask to protect your time. Same thing with this commission law that's coming out. Like, you heard me talking the other day. So now commissions are being negotiated into the contract.
Well, everybody's calling it a law, rule,
regulation,
rule,
standard.
And that's probably just me being nitpicky, but to me it's different.
Sticking their nose where it doesn't belong.
I don't know. We've talked about this before. I don't necessarily.
They to the American citizens.
I think so.
Absolutely. Just, I mean.
think so.
Yeah, I do.
I don't. Let me back up.
I'm actively practicing it, and I can by far tell you that transacting got more expensive.
For right the second. And to me, it's not about more expensive or less expensive. To me, though, there's certain things. It's like everything else. There's always a time period. Let me back up. Before I say they did good or did bad, what I will say is I understand why Bruno and Riley really like each other.
All right.
I do understand their intent with the with not the uncoupling, but the what's the
like the transparency portion?
Well,
I understand the transparency portion. I'm actually okay with.
When they thought it was like, steering because everybody's prices in one location. I actually do agree with them about that point. Because
the only point that I agreed with is that there are agents, and this is not a practice that I agree with, but there are agents that would actively show their clients the highest commission sales and then save the lesser ones for last, or refuse to show them all together, or even lie about it, like, oh, they're busy, I couldn't get in.
Yeah. And I don't know.
However, I have a specific stance about that. We talked about it.
Well, I don't even that. I actually don't know that happened to that. I'm not saying never. Because
I know it happens because I've walked in on agents, even agents inside my own brokerage, and I'm like, hey guys, I was like, this is
you negotiate it. If you don't like what you're getting paid, you negotiate it.
That's correct. And like we serve our clients. However, again, I'll get back to my point on that in a second. Go ahead.
It is, though, whenever you have, it can almost, and I mean, again, like I said, like whenever you have, this is what we charge, and I know it's always been negotiable. I don't think that a lot of people were confused on that as much as they said.
That's a victim thing.
I mean, I can't tell you how many appointments you've been in.
Is this negotiable?
Is this negotiable?
Absolutely is. We can negotiate whether I take you on as a client or not.
Right. But I mean, they get to say. So with all that, but when you think about a new, and it's not even about being new, because there are some people that are new to real estate and yet they have a background of negotiating and all these things. And so, hey, but there are people that are doing less and getting the same amount or whatever because they saw this number. So that's what I mean about it does make sense.
Did they just move the camera? I think they did. 1 second.
We'll see. Pause.
People talking about like you're not showing your clients the lower commission houses. I have something to say inside of capitalism. Why the can you tell me which houses I am and are not going to show as an independent contractor when you don't pay my damn bills? If I don't want to accept a 2% paycheck and I'm not willing to take a 2% paycheck and you're not willing to pay me over a 2% paycheck, then why do I have to show?
Well, I think this is that does the split. You don't have to. You have to make sure that your client makes that decision.
Yeah.
And for any realtors that are listening to this I did not come up with this. It was shared on Lab Coat Agents, I believe.
Hey. Lead generate every day.
This was the text. I found it. So an agent texted this to their client and it said, how about name of the property?
I didn't know what you're about to talk about, yeah.
So this is the property that the seller is not agreeing to pay any commission, and it will increase your cash to close or be rolled into your mortgage. So that to me is they're letting the client know these are your options. And the client said, we can scrub it for now.
Yeah.
Great. Understood.
Did you hear that, sellers?
That's the thing, is make certain that your buyer understands, because the thing is, whether it's closing costs they need, their commission paid, the price of the house, those are all going to matter whether they can buy that property.
Yeah, your realtor is now on closing costs. Nothing more, nothing less. And I always have been. We're just switching the sides of the sheet on the
It's just
statement.
the verbiage.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm really tired of talking about that topic. Can we pick a new topic?
Yes. I'm going to cut this. My nose is itching. I feel like I'm doing coke. No.
Jesus.
Shoot, I'd be a lot skinnier.
Oh, God. And I couldn't imagine you talking more.
Ouch.
I mean, that goes for me, too, if we're being fair. No. All right. So let's talk about...
Sorry. Respect your time. We finish that up? You wanted people to respect your agent's time? Part of it is the way that we communicate. A lawyer doesn't tell people, call me anytime. Realtors say, call me anytime. Call me 24/7. And then get upset because you called them at 8 o'clock at night.
I mean,
well, you just told me I could. Why are you mad at me?
I pre-qualified and passed a $400,000 lead to someone last night at 10 p.m. while I was hanging out. We have a sibling get-together about once every quarter where my brother cooks and we all hang out at his house. We don't invite our parents because we don't drink in front of our parents. And my parents know. She goes... Because my mom gets so offended by this. It's so funny. She's like, I birthed all y'all, now don't invite me to the events.
This is true.
She goes, y'all just use this as an excuse to drink because we don't let y'all drink. And it's like, it's not that you don't let us. It's that we're respectful enough.
That's right.
Not to drink in front of you.
That's like, so this is Coke. And
this is not.
When we have family get-togethers, it's funny because you will see certain. I don't drink very much, and yet you'll have certain people, and I know who you are, that they're drinking their drink out of like a closed cup. I'm like, you ain't fooling nobody. We know that ain't just orange juice.
It's definitely Andy.
No, Andy doesn't drink very often.
Really? Mm-mm. Actually, I saw him this Friday.
Did you?
I went to go pick up my jet ski from Power Sports, and I saw him, and I yelled at the salesperson, said, "Quit talking to him. He doesn't have any money." Knowing good and well, this guy what not.
Well, he texted me and said Harrison just got 2 new jet skis or something like that.
I had one. I traded in my 2 old ones to get the new one.
But yeah, he was just.
So I told you before we got on the thing, I was like, hey, I got to take my watch off because like people be blowing me up. Y'all know I have 432 unread text messages, and I'll have 450 by the end of this episode, guaranteed. Plus, I already know I've missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 phone calls since I put my phone down. So that's how many phone calls I get. Right,
better customer service if somebody was answering your calls for a phone.
It's Saturday. Who's answering the phone?
Oh, that's something that we'll be talking about.
Okay, then. So one of the things I struggle with, and you were giving me a compliment, and you were like, and room for opportunity. And it's that, like, if I'm having a one-on-one conversation, and so just like I'm having a one-on-one right now, like I took my watch off because I'm being distracted. I put my phone's on silent, and it's upside down because I'm trying to engage and like be all in on be where my feet are at. That was it was a good podcast to listen to by somebody. You said, I've always noticed that you're really good at engaging, and then if you have your watch on, like you don't even glance. You just straight up just put it right in front of their face. And I'd have people all the time talk to me about, like, they're like, hey, do you need to go? Are you in a hurry? Like, is there an emergency? And I'm like, oh, no. I was just trying to make sure it wasn't an emergency. And one thing, I do want to make sure it's not Addison. Like, if Addison calls me in the middle of the day, there's something going on. She needs something because she doesn't. Yeah. She don't call me unless she needs money or needs me.
And there's certain people that maybe there's maybe letting people know up front, like, hey, if such and such, because I'll do that. Like right now with my mom being sick, like if my mom called
right now, you're stepping out.
I'm stepping out.
Yeah.
And yet I also had it for a time when we first came home and she couldn't walk or get it was the whole thing. I would put, like even at night, I would put my phone so she could call me and it would ring. I'm millennial. We don't usually have a ringer. But for her, I'll put a ringer on there. And so,
do you have like a custom one?
No.
Girls just want to have fun.
Well, that's the funny part. I remember when that was a big thing, right? Everybody was buying ringtones.
Yeah. Everybody had their own.
Like, just turn them off.
Oh, the best story I have in this?
Boomers have rings.
There was this girl that my parents helped raise. Her and her parents just had like a little tiff when she was graduating high school. She came and lived with my family for like a year.
Yeah, everybody needs somebody that can help. Yeah,
it was a family that went to my dad's church, and my dad was like, "Hey, y'all are obviously having some problems over there. She can come live with us, and then we'll figure this thing out."
Yeah.
And fun story. Her and her family are completely great today.
Yeah.
But so she ended up getting married to this guy. He's a really nice guy, but he was just. You could tell that he, I don't think he went to a whole lot of church in his life. And so this is when I was young. And they'd been dating for about 6 months, a year. So he's coming to church and being consistent. And all of a sudden, my dad's in the middle of a sermon, and all I hear is, throw some D's on that bitch. And I look over, and I was like,
I was it's like the squirrel went berserk. I'd have chucked my phone and been like,
I was like, whose ringtone is that? So yeah, no, that was when I think ringtones, I think of a gold tooth man named Tracy.
Yeah.
Throwing some D's on that bitch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's a really nice guy though. Yeah. It may have been Silvertooth, I don't know. Whatever, anyway. But hopefully he doesn't hear this podcast.
He'll know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, one of the things that I've been considering is when I'm in appointments, like so when I'm working on the business, when I'm not in appointments, is having my Apple Watch on so that I can be connected because I don't want to miss your text message. I promise. But actually, just going to get like I don't know. I've been insulted on my watch game lately.
Yeah,
I do not own a watch. I own an Apple Watch.
Yeah,
but I don't own like a fancy schmancy. Like, and I've been told, like, as in some of these circles that I'm walking in now, and they're like, it's just straight up on camera.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to have to, like, Connor, you're going to have to, like, blur out sections of the screen. It'll be great. Actually, that's going to be awesome when he does that. So, anyway, but I've been like, hey, look, like, you're crowdfunding money. You're looking to buy businesses. You're doing things like people, like,
there is a certain expectation.
I do not have a watch culture. And by the way, I'm not changing my wardrobe. So you're going to get me and Amanda Mesa calls them my Mormon shorts. Like, they're a little, like, in her opinion, a little too short, but Addison says they're fire. And that's who I shop with. So, and my polos, like, I'm not wearing slacks and I'm not wearing a button up. And if that's the only way to get in your room, go yourself. Cause I'm not going to be there. But I think I did, like, he's telling me, he's like, hey, you know how your name walks in the ring before you do, so does your watch. And in some rooms, that's important. And so I will probably go make a purchase. I'm actually going to Dallas next week, so I may go make a purchase.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I do remember at one point, Gary Keller, right, when he was building his business, Mo Anderson said, you've got to get a new car. You cannot be picking people up, talking about this great opportunity, and you broke down, beat up car. And so he went and got a used BMW or something to go pick people up from the airport. So I think there's something to that. And you also have to think about, is it something you're going to wear or something you're going to use? I know for myself, now, of course, it's different. I think as a female with a watch, not necessarily with the other pieces, but I have never been, I don't like things touching me. That's where I actually wear contacts. I don't wear glasses because they touch me.
I don't mind wrist stuff. When I got married, for that really long period of time I was married, 10 months, I could not wear a wedding ring. And she got a little upset at me once. She was like, are you, like, what's the deal? And I was like, I can't do it. I'm literally sitting there in an appointment trying to listen to you, and I can feel it on my finger. And my brain... like, what's the word? Like not. I don't want to use the word focus in because that's too light of a word.
No, it's like when you hyper focus on. It's like
hyperfixation.
Yeah.
On this ring on my finger, it's almost like the ring, like the Lord of the Rings, like the ring, like where it makes you think weird and stuff. I was like, get this thing off my finger.
It was awful. Well, I'm that way about certain clothes. I'm about that way, and it not like. It's not jeans, but this pair of jeans, the way that they fit or whatever, you would think
I like loosely fitting clothes, and it has nothing to do with my physique or how big or small I am. Because whenever I was, whenever I had 6-pack abs and was huge, right, I still preferred to wear baggy clothes. Yeah. I would wear tight clothes in certain situations, but like for the most part. Like, I mean, I would get made fun of. Like, my girlfriend's always made fun of me. Like, why do you always wear baggy jeans? I was like, I'm just comfortable.
Well, for me, it's the I wear tight sometimes, I wear loose sometimes, but if it feels a certain way, it freaks me out.
Yeah.
So it's a sensory thing. But with the so I'm like that with the watches. I started wearing a watch whenever I started running. And I had, so I've got a Garmin, because these are both pretty expensive watches. I've got a Garmin, which was not expensive because our friend Brahman loaned it to me. And Beckham, used to be Beckham.
Yeah, but she like loaned it like permanently?
Well, yes.
Brahman and I know where your watch is.
She loaned it to me and I offered to pay for it, but she was like, I'm not using it anymore. So I had that one, and I actually still have that one and I still use it. And then I had got a Koros watch for running as well. And so I will wear those. Now, funny thing about those two, don't bother me unless like the reason I'm not wearing it right now is because like it got wet and I can't stand it. So then it just needed to dry, but it'll take me a month to remember to put it on when I'm putting it on, and then I'll wear it forever. But the only thing for that became the fixation of like, now I'm like, what's the point of doing? What's the point of walking? What's the point of doing nothing if I can't get my step count? Like, that's in my head.
Really? Oh,
like, I put that on it, and all of a sudden I'm like paying attention to stuff.
Yeah, so I actually don't measure any of that stuff. So this is a Whoop band.
What?
A Whoop band.
Whoop, there it is.
Yeah, so the charge lasts like 3 or 4 days. And so it's loose fitting.
The other thing I didn't like about the Apple Watch is I always had to, like the Garmin's.
You have to take it off at night. So it has the sleep sensors and stuff to measure your sleep, but you got to charge it at some point. And if you live in my shoes, I just told you guys about how many, so I would say upwards of 400 text messages a day, upwards of 200 phone calls a day. Bruno, where's that Riley? I don't know.
Oh, that's Riley. Riley, come here. I will cut this. Riley, here.
No, it's fine.
Here you go.
And so, like my watch dies. Like, so it gets, I have a day. Yeah. And at night, it's at like 10%.
Well, that's why I do like the Chorus and the Garmin. And now, you can't text back, but you can get text or see text on those. But they last anywhere from, at least a week. Now, oh yeah.
That's cool.
Now, and then also the Apple Watch, if you're a runner or something, don't use the Apple Watch because Apple Watch.
Not even the Ultra? Not even that, like the super high tech one that they have? The Ultra 2, I believe.
Something might have changed, but at the time, like my first marathon, matter of fact, I was wearing my Apple Watch at the time because it was tracking my miles. It was off anywhere from 2 to 3, 4 miles at a time. Do you know how pissed I was whenever I would run and I'm like 3 miles to whatever, and then you're 4 miles or
that's a big difference, yeah.
And even if it was just like half a mile, it's just like, oh, that's terrible. But the others, just Garmin, like that's their specificity.
Specificity. That's correct. Yes.
And
we kept trying to add that.
Just there.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can get text. Now, the one time, the reason I even got the Chorus is I had the Garmin, and I discovered later it's because I had synced it. But in my first attempt at my Ultra, I got about 60-something miles in, and my freaking watch died.
Oh, I'd have been so disappointed.
Oh, disappointed is not the right word. I was so
mad.
Oh my god!
Did you feel naked?
I felt naked. I felt cheated. I felt like, because all of a sudden it's like, well, I don't know how
this isn't real anymore. Yeah.
Oh, I was bent. And yet, but it wasn't. The watch would have lasted the whole time. I didn't have it on the right setting, so it was running too many things in the background. And so, but I had already bought the Chorus, but I still like the Garmin better. So Garmin, hit me up.
Right. So, Alivia would like to sponsor or be sponsored by you.
So I'll tell everybody this, and then we'll have to figure out how to hold me to this. Or make sure it's not just like you have this would be nice, and then this is what I'm committed to. Mm-hmm. You know how Kevin Hart was the first non-athlete to get a shoe deal?
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah. And I was like, how cool would it be if I was the first realtor, the first coach, whatever, like that got a shoe endorsement for running ultras? Would that not be freaking badass?
Oh, for running ultras.
Or first shoe deal. Forget where. But I just was brought, because there's this thing called Wall of Awful. If you're ADHD, everybody should read it because it's pretty interesting. But if you're ADHD, this helps a whole lot. So if I had to do Riley, no, sir. If I have to do multiple steps to then do something, the something's not going to get done.
Yeah.
So, so one of the things that I discovered about why sometimes I would like not to want to run or whatever. So if I ever didn't want to run, and I need to start asking myself this again. If I didn't want to run, I had to ask myself, like, what is it? If it's something dumb, it would be something simple, but it would bother me. So, carrying a water bottle. Now I have to drink constantly when I'm running at all. But I do not like having anything in my hands. I cannot have my phone in my hand. I cannot have I can just run from here to my truck. I don't like it in my hands.
Yeah.
And my hands get sweaty. So that's when I went to like a belt that had your water bottles, but then you're having to like stop.
So like the water fanny pack.
And it was, And so then it was the backpack one, but I had to have the backpack one where the storage was right and everything. So like it was all about, and it ended up being the vest was the perfect for me. And instead of too much information, but instead of the water, it had 2 water things right here, and you just turned your head and you drank. But that's because it was easier to clean, because I knew if, like, I wouldn't go run that day because I'm like, I gotta clean the water bottle, right?
Yeah.
So it was this whole thing, but if I could make it super simple and not have any thought process from here to here, it would just happen.
Yeah. So
that's where a lot of my, but when I say extreme, like, there's not very many people that say from the end of 2019, I decided to run. I ran my first marathon in 2020, January of 2020. So we're talking 5 weeks, I think, or 6 weeks, 8 weeks, something like that. And then I was running ultras by like May or June. No, August, something like that.
Yeah.
So
do you think that a lot of the reason your body wasn't able to keep up is because you literally just said, I'm going all in, but like years of, and I don't, I don't want to use the word dormancy, but
it was.
But I liken that into my issue with pickleball. Like I went from, I'm not going to say I was any kind of a world-class athlete, but I was a bodybuilder and I was very strong. I mean, I was benching over 400, squatting over 600. I'm in the top 0.2% of the strongest people in the world. And then I hurt my back. I quit working out. I started drinking way more. And so I went from 215 to 240 pounds at any given time, solid with abs. Like I'm huge in a very muscular, athletic way, to almost 300 pounds over the course of 8 years, and soft. Like you're talking about, I hadn't ran, I hadn't worked out, I haven't done anything healthy for my body in 8 years. I pick up pickleball. It's an obsession. I'm like, oh my God, I get to compete again.
Yeah.
I'm having fun. I'm losing weight. I feel awesome. But my body, I mean, when I say I went all in, I was playing for upwards. There were some days on weekends where I'd go to Dallas to go train with pros or whatever, because I was in South.
Yeah.
Like I said, I wanted to go play in turn, like not these like local tournaments, like, oh, look at me, I beat grandma, no. I wanted to go compete because that's who I am as a human.
Yeah.
And I was playing upwards of, some days 8-9 hours, some days 12, 14 hours, to the point where tore hamstring, tore calf muscle. The doctors don't, I'm going to tell you there is some slight tear in my ACL, MCL. Doctors, I've paid for 2 MRIs. Yeah. There's something wrong with my knee. Like I can't squat. Yeah. And it's like, it hurts. And that's why I had to quit playing pickleball. But it's because of those years of dormancy where then I said, all right, body, I demand elite level activity out of you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much like that. And even so I had a running coach. I went to running camps. I read books on running, like the whole bit. Well, my running coach, we were trying to build up my wind and everything and my heart rate. So like there were days where she was like, if your heart rate goes over this, you have to slow down. You have to walk.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, I had to just like walk the whole, like I was devastated. And she'd be like, you have to take a day off. Cause there were times where you would do 2 a days, but then there was like, but you have to have rest days and you have to do the other things. And I was like,
well, rest is how you build that better.
That's right. And so that's why I tell like people that I coach and business owners and agents, I'm like, look, rest days are as important as lead generation. You can't skip either. And so that was but it was so hard to do. And, but then what really got me though, because was my, when my feet started hurting, I thought it was, what is it like with when you wake up and your heel hurts?
I don't know the answer to this question.
Can't think of it. Anyways, I thought it was something that you could just work your way through, or like shin splint, you work your way through.
Rest is the only option there.
Yeah. Well, with this, with my feet thing, it should have been, usually they're like 6
Olivia
weeks.
has a feet thing.
Yeah. 6 weeks to 6 months. It should be better, but because I didn't realize it was a thing, and my feet hurt so bad, it felt like people, like when I was running, it felt like the people were beating the bottom of my feet with a ball peen hammer. I just kept running because I thought, that's fine. Because I was like, this is going to happen.
It'll. And
I've always been taught, you just play through the pain. And, but it depends on the pain.
Yeah. There's a difference in, what is my dad used to say this to me because he would always go, oh, there's a difference in being hurt and being in pain.
Yes.
And he's like, pain we can get through. If you're hurt, you need to stop.
That's right. And I was hurt and didn't know it or wouldn't accept it, even though I had went to like several doctors for my feet and everything else, but I wasn't going to accept it. So, so that's like
the coach doesn't listen to the professionals. So that's awesome.
We're probably the worst. So I went to like my last ultra. My intent, and this is the other thing, is sometimes I set unrealistic expectations for myself without knowing anything. Or acting like life happens. And that's one of the reasons with clients, I'm always like, does this goal fit in with life? Because I know that you have to do that, because I'll say things like, I'm going to run a 100-miler before my 40th birthday. I never backed up. We shared a story about me wanting to do a sprint triathlon and then like, oh, I'm scared of water, but let's do it anyways.
Yeah.
Without stepping back and going, well, maybe I should take time to
like acclimate myself to water. Hey, by the way, pool going in. in the next 7 days.
Yeah. So we go to, so I said, hey, I'm going to do this by my 40th birthday.
Yeah.
So my 40th, I turned 40 March 8th, and we're running this at like March 30th or something, 28. Going in, my feet hurt. My feet hurt so bad on that run that I literally, by mile 60, mile 60, I had already changed shoes multiple times. Usually you don't have to do that in a race, but I was like, maybe if I change shoes, it'll give me a little bit of, I had the lady work on my feet, she taped it up, all the stuff. And then my last 2 10-mile loops, my last one, second to last 10-mile loop, I'd taken I was like, maybe if I take my shoes off, my feet will feel better. I'm tender-footed, but my feet hurt so bad. So I took my shoes off and walked a few miles, and then I put another pair of shoes on and then kept running. And
I can't imagine how bad that started to hurt.
Yeah. And then, of course, the thing about your body, our bodies are wonderful things. It attempts to help you out. Mm-hmm. So then, because it was trying to protect my feet and help like this, then my knees started hurting, and then back, it was this whole thing. And finally, whenever I called it, it was so Maverick, my nephew, him and his wife had come, and she'd run 10 miles with me, and then he'd run our 10-mile loop, and then he had run a 10-mile loop with me. And they went back home and slept and came back, and he ran another 10-mile loop. And at this point, I'm done, but physically, but I'm trying to keep going, and my body just
This was at mile what?
I got to mile 86, so this was probably mile 80. And what also, you got to be careful what questions you ask. Mm-hmm. So I had thought that I had 32 hours to complete or something like that. And that last 10-mile loop, somebody said something about what time it ended. I only had 28 hours or 30, whatever it was a lot.
So you weren't on pace or anything?
So I was on pace. If I could run the last 4 loops the last 2 loops at my best pace. Mm-hmm.
But that's likely not where you're going to see your best pace.
That's right. But in my head, I'm like, I'm going to do it. Well, and when that's the other thing, so I had overdone it the one before. So that one where I ended up walking to the last couple miles, I was on pace that one to do. I was averaging 10-minute miles on that, which is pretty fast for me because I'm not a fast runner, especially at 50 miles in. But my coach going into that, my coach said, hey, why don't we walk this? Mm-hmm. I was just getting over COVID also. And she's like, why don't we just walk this? And I was like, okay.
No.
And so at this point, he's so funny. He's, he would have been probably 21, maybe 21 at the time. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to run. And that's as fast. I couldn't even walk fast.
Like you were galloping, just
trying to and he's trying to get me to eat because that's the other challenge that you run into.
But you got to sit there and hit gels and athletic drinks with sugar and carbs in it.
And I had in my water bottles, because I don't like a lot of the water stuff. So I have 1 or 2 that I will even drink no matter what. But once I get that tired, it's hard for me to drink either of them. But that's where you're getting all your calories. And so I just had water at this point. So he's trying to get me to eat something. And I'm in my head, I'm like a 4-year-old because I'm like, what?
No.
And then
did he hit you with the plane?
Yeah. And he was like, he really did. He was like, just take a bite. And of course, we're walking, and I'm mad because I can't run. And he's like, just take a bite, and he's trying to feed me a chip, and I'm like, no, here's an M&M. So he went ahead, came back with some M&Ms, and I was like, I don't want it. Here's a Coke. I didn't want it. So anyway,
I can't imagine a Coke while I was running.
Oh no, you need it. It's crazy. Look, the first time I ever ran an ultra, and you go by, usually in runs, you expect at least in my mind, I would think a bunch of healthy
Gatorade,
stuff.
Pickle juice
On the ultra run?
Donuts.
They have, yes, because it's whatever.
Calorie dense.
Calorie dense and whatever you will eat, because at that point your body's almost shutting down. You
does
do
a
not
banana
want to
not count towards calorie dense?
But you don't want to eat. They literally, when I say, you're just trying to find something that you will eat.
Like something that's attractive to your body at the time?
Because it was like, I've never had a problem eating anything. And that's the other
fitness, food in my mouth.
That's right. Yeah. But I don't even, but it was so like, anyway, so it was just hilarious. He's trying to get, and then I do finally start trying to run again, but everything's hurting. We go down a hill, we go up a hill, and he was texting with my brother Avery and his wife, and they met us right there. And Avery told me what time it was, and I
feel like he made a joke too.
Yeah, he made a joke.
I knew it.
And he was like, we should probably roll this up. And I
was like, just quit. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, this is the second one he'd seen me go through, so he knew that I was done. Like it wasn't like, because there are times that you need somebody to say, you go. Yeah. And they had been. But at that point, he knew, like, there was no, I was done.
Well, and that's why, like, in boxing, I didn't know this. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it was about, it was Muhammad Ali versus somebody else. Or was it Mike? No, it was Muhammad Ali. And he told his trainer, he said, I didn't know this. Your trainer has to throw in the towel. The fighter can't quit. The trainer has to throw in the towel. I'm sure the fighter can quit, but anyway. But like the trainer's the one who has to say, we're done.
Yeah.
And he said, throw in the towel. I'm done. And he said, wait. And so they're sitting there in their corners. And he said in the last 2 seconds before the round starts, I'm going to throw in the towel. And they waited. The other trainer threw in the towel first because both fighters had just had it. They were done. And he said, I just told you just to be patient. Just hang tight with me for a second. And that's what their trainer is supposed to know is when it's time, it's time. And when it's time to go, it's time to go.
That's right. And and you need that person that's going to push you. And then when it's time, they got to be able to, because at that point, like, again, my brain's.
Care and candor. That's what we talked about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. That actually has stuck with me, by the way.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, so because your brain's out of it. So he was like, we're going to call, he's like, get in the car. So I get in the car. Of course, I'm pissed. I'm hurt, all this stuff. And
more so just happy to be sitting down.
No, I'm way too competitive for that. Because you feel like you've let yourself down and everybody down. And
anybody in this audience, like if you did 86 miles, like I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm not doing 5 miles, so I definitely, sure as hell, ain't doing 86.
Well, that's the cool part is if you would have told me, I don't even like driving 86 miles. I think I live too far from the office. Mm-hmm. But when I was running, I'd run there all the time. Like I'd go run 5 hours. But I didn't
want to sit in the meeting with you after you ran there.
Yeah. Well, that's not a challenge. That's one thing about when I was running. Chuck and Amber were in Colorado for a while, and I went and stayed for like 2 weeks. And I was running in Colorado.
Didn't sweat a whole lot. Did you?
My God, it was awesome. Like I would go run and not have to come home and meet. Like I literally was. They were like, "We're going to go out to eat," and like I didn't stink.
You were like,
I'm like, "Oh,
good." Yeah.